Welcome to one of our last sessions at the 2021 Summit, and a really important one, so thanks for being here. I'm Tracey Black from Payments Canada, and I'm speaking with Nadeem Yusufaly from Microsoft Dynamics and Persson from SEEBURGER about how to get your business ready for modern payments. We'll do some introductions and then get on to our talk. Nadeem and Ulf, could I ask you please to tell us a little bit about yourselves? We'll start with you, Nadeem.
Hi, my name is Nadeem. I'm the business group lead for Dynamics 365 for Microsoft Canada. I've been working for large multinational organizations for about 20 plus years and really excited about the whole transformation journey that's happening, not just in Canada, but globally. And really excited to partake in this, in this conference and talk about this very important topic.
And Ulf?
Thanks, Tracey. My name is Persson. I'm with SEEBURGER, focusing on global business development. The last 10 years, specifically around financial services. I'm all about integration in various capacities, and that's what I've been doing the last 30 years.
Great. Well, welcome, both of you. Let's get to our first question. And the first question is, do you think businesses in Canada understand what modern payments are, and particularly how modern payments can help to create back office efficiencies? From each of your perspectives, what are you seeing and hearing from your clients? Can we start with you, Nadeem?
Well, I truly believe we've just started this whole modernization journey over the last, I would say, 10 years or so. And I think the question that you ask largely depends on the size of the business and where they're at right now in their journey. As probably most of us know today, 99% of Canada's economy and a large part of North America is I would say 99% of them are SMBs, right? And so I think while large enterprise organizations, they all know they have to move and they all know they have to transform, and they've made steps in that transformation journey, kind of digitizing certain processes. I believe that I believe that we have to do a lot more work to educate our SMB folk to kind of to take this transformation globally and nationally. And so when you think about processes such as simple things as reconciling invoices, payment processing, cash flow forecasting, kind of deriving analytics on their spend patterns, etc., I don't believe that this is happening in a consistent fashion with the most modern tools that are available. And there's a huge opportunity, I believe, for organizations to gain efficiencies within their back office. And once they do this, not only will they gain more insights and will they be able to empower their employees to become more, I would say, strategic advisors to their organizations. They'll move away from task-oriented processes, and I think that will help really enable them to get ready for this modern payment initiative that's going to happen.
Great, thank you. And Ulf, what are your views?
No, it's similar. It's a lot of replatforming and replatforming initiatives going on. Business side want to move fast. IT may have other priorities, and there's also, and that could sometimes be dependent on data silos. There are many financial services institutions, organizations, and enterprises as such. They have various type of solutions implemented already. You have the legacy approach. You have the new type of API digital initiatives that started a few years ago. How do these play together? You have the cloud as a factor as well, and in general we see that the understanding may be there, but as Nadeem says as well, it's how do we help the SMBs, and how do we help not only support and that the larger organization can make this happen, but the overall ecosystem. That's the opportunity we have in front of us from that perspective, I think.
Great. Okay. Well, it sounds like there's some pretty significant opportunity here for both small, medium, and large businesses in Canada as well. It sounds also, though, that maybe the smaller companies might need some assistance or some education, and large organizations are going to have to think about how they manage their competing priorities and the impact of modern payments throughout the organizations. Over the course of the summit, as we've listened to some of the panels over the last week, there's been a lot of discussion not only about how modern payments can help businesses to be more efficient, but also how modern payments will help to provide more data to improve company insights. Now, I don't think this is going to be as easy as flipping a switch, and then investment in back office technology and processes is going to be required. But what do businesses need to do to realize value from modern payments and the data that's provided? And when do they need to do it by? Ulf, can we start with you?
Sure. I think we mentioned it a little bit, and we talk about data, and I'm sure Nadeem will agree with me here. Be able to trust the information, trust the data, reliable sources of data, and it's an ongoing process. Again, from an infrastructure, and typical process today, you have some kind of channel interaction with your corporates as part of that process. You need to manage different flavor of payments, again, both traditional and prepare for smarter initiatives. API and digital services play a role here. So the challenge is, of course, opportunities to where to start. We have seen, and this has been going on, and I think Canada has been a good example of really trying to adopt ISO 20022 and set processes around that. I know this is a challenge, and sometimes it introduces challenges within the large organization, the bank, for example, but also on the corporate side and the treasurer on the other side, so to say. But data security and will help to create a foundation for the relevant services, including setting a kind of foundation for modern payments. Yeah.
Oh, great. Nadeem, what's your perspective?
100%. And I mean, it's a big question, right? It's a big question, and it's a lot that I understand that businesses have to digest in terms of all the efficiencies that they have to kind of think about to really take advantage of some of these modern tools and get ready for something like modern payments, right? And I think you kind of when you talk about data, it all starts there, right? I mean, any modernization effort, whether it's modern payments, modernizing your back office, etc., you need to think about your data. We've, over the course of our, I would say, last 30 or 40 years, we've built a system of legacy and siloed systems where data is not always necessarily captured in the right way, synthesized, protected, and analyzed, and has not been able to provide the right insights for organizations. And I think, with the likes of organizations like SEEBURGER and Microsoft and all our IT vendors, we're enabling organizations today, and we're providing the tools required to really, one, manage your data, right? Consolidate your data. I think it starts with like a common data platform that you can aggregate your data across these siloed systems. Like that's a really, really important initiative to move to a modernized, kind of any tool, and to take advantage of modern payments in a very in an enriched way. We need to figure out how to aggregate your data, and so you need a tool to think about how to have that type of common data platform. We call it like master data management as an example. And then so today I think our biggest challenge is that many organizations are not equipped for this type of transformation just because of the legacy systems and the disparate systems that we have to take advantage of the modernization that needs to happen, right, to ensure business continuity and business growth. So it's a big effort, but I think collectively we will work together to get there.
We've been hearing a lot about data and the power of data for payments and even beyond payments, and the power of data to create unique customer experiences. And it sounds like from a payments perspective that the ISO 20022 message, that's going to be very helpful as a value driver, in that it will provide a lot more data about the payment with the payment. But based on the comments made by both of you, this is going to take some investment and some planning in order to take advantage of that data. So my observation would be that change management is going to be pretty critical here. And I would imagine that there's going to be some focus required on prioritization, collaboration, and probably continuing to enhance or iterate on the investments that have been made. So lots of value, but not without some investment required. Both of you both work on the international stage, and I'm curious, what are the benefits of modern payments that you've seen elsewhere that you can share with us today? Can we start with you, Nadeem?
Yeah, in terms of we're just at the beginning of this journey of modern payments, right? And so when we think about modern payments, and I think about, as an example, in finance organizations, being able to have, like automated cash flow forecasting and the insights into your cash flow, being able to understand, automate your accounts receivable and make that more efficient, enabling businesses just to have that type of insight, I think is one of the biggest benefits of modern payment. The ease of business. But I think the one area that companies who have taken advantage of it that have had to really rethink is their security, right? And thinking about their cybersecurity, because with modern payments and with kind of this open banking initiative, security becomes such a big factor, and it's become the risk factor just becomes the risk factor it becomes exponential. And so we really need to ensure that as we're modernizing our payments and our backend, etc., security is playing a key role, right, in that. And then what I would say is that most definitely that organizations that haven't started that journey need to start thinking about that and doing that now, analyzing the data, their risk, to take advantage of kind of this accelerated transformation that's happening in the world.
Great, thank you. Ulf, your view?
To add on to the kind of secure way of doing things, and what has changed, what we can see, and obviously Nadeem as well, I'm sure, is the whole usage of cloud. Today cloud is a given in one way or the other. It's more a matter of how you use the cloud and how you deploy your processes in the cloud. And if you do that in the right way, you mentioned there is a need for some kind of change management, whatever we do. But if you use that in the right way, it will set the foundation for innovation, obviously cost efficiency, and maybe some of the areas where you may be struggling with improving processes, you can focus more on that, maybe outsource the right level of services in the cloud, the combination of that's one thing we see some of our clients are doing, and business partners as well. The whole collaborative effort, having application providers, other type of technology providers, obviously the end customer as well, and figure out a good way to collaborate, and at the same time, and competitive, but collaboration is important as well to help each other. Standards is important. Obviously ISO 20022 is a standard, but when it comes to open banking initiatives, we're all aware of that. There's a lot of initiatives going on, and there are many standards, meaning there are no real standards. And I think if with a little bit more of effort here and there are regional differences, cultural differences, of course, in business as well, but improving this and set standards. If you take, for example, open banking, that will definitely help to move and help enterprises move forward with modern payments in a more structured way. At the end of the day, as long as we can manage and share and secure information, it's about data at the end of the day, I believe, and with regards to what we discussed earlier here. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I know faster payments, they mean faster everything. So I think to Nadeem's point about cybersecurity, as we accelerate the speed of payments and we generate more data with those payments, and that data is moving in real time, even in sub-seconds in the future, it will be important to keep that protected. I don't know that as we talk about the importance of cloud or the opportunity of cloud, I'm not sure that we're tracking with security and cloud at the same pace. And so, I'm just curious, Ulf, what are your thoughts on how do we articulate that, if cloud is a very valuable tool for modern payments, how do we make sure that the security of the cloud is sufficient? We're quite conservative in this industry, and so I'm just curious how we make that transition.
No, you're totally right, and obviously compared to other industries, there are various ways that you need to think about. But I think it's about isolating processes, isolating business processes. Of course, requirements are security should always be a core requirement, but the level of security could be different depending on the business process that you offer to the community, your community. If you take onboarding and certain level of let's say ISO 20022, the first level of testing and the interaction between maybe the bank and the enterprise, the treasurer and the other side, that level of data to test that connectivity is working, that information is flowing in the right way, that does not have to require the same level of security, so to say, as if you would go live if you look at transferring more business critical information. So I think that's a matter of looking at the differences of business processes, sometimes application, and then share that in the right way, so to say, without going into technical details. So you can, have and apply the right level of security and the right level of service, depending on how you deploy those type of applications, if that makes sense.
No, I appreciate the extra information. Nadeem, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, I think I'll cover it pretty well. I mean, look, the reality is that to get ready for this era of digital transformation, moving to the cloud, I mean, if security is not top of mind for you, then I really believe that needs to be a starting point, right? Like in line with thinking about your data strategy. It's almost in parallel. You need to think about your security strategy, because I mean, you see it time and time again. You open the paper every day, there's another cybersecurity threat, and I mean, the reality of it is, while we all want to do business in the most ethical fashion, this move to modern payments, it does definitely expose us, right? It definitely does expose businesses if they're not really securing their infrastructure, securing their data, securing their, even thinking about how employees are managing, their security, etc. It's a really, really important topic, and I think we're just at the beginning stages of how we're helping organizations think about that security challenge, because we've never experienced this kind of security risk as we do the transition, right? Like it's a massive undertaking that at a global level, right? At a global level, and those that have got it right, I think, are accelerating, and they're moving much faster. Unfortunately, those that don't keep this as a top of mind priority, with kind of business continuity and transforming business, movement to the cloud, etc. If security is not top of mind, unfortunately, I think it will take them 3 steps back, and they'll have to kind of rethink that. So I can't stress the security part enough, as we think through this modernization effort.
I appreciate the clarification there. And so I'm just going to pick up on something, Nadeem, that you said in your earlier answer around taking action. It seems like the prize is big, but it's not a simple journey. It sounds like there is huge opportunity here, but that the journey to modern payments is going to require some pretty detailed planning, focus on security, thoughtful execution, and I've got to imagine it can be difficult to take that first step. And so, what can businesses do now? What can they do right now to prepare for modern payments? Maybe we'll start with Ulf on this one.
A couple of things, because I think we have mentioned a few along the way, but of course, to emphasize on that again, to raise the knowledge, maybe digital knowledge within your teams. So that's both on the business side and on the IT side, and obviously share that together to avoid the classic clash between IT and business, correct? So that's one thing. The second would be try to increase interoperability between your legacy type initiatives that you always have to support one way or the other, and these new type of initiative, faster, modern, whatever, however you want to call, to improve, the processes around payments, again, in a secure, reliable way, correct? That's another one. And then maybe, innovation together with category of look into your ecosystem and see how you can innovate and roll things out, innovate services as part of a customer journey, so to say, and to understand your customers even better and what they are, the challenges that they have. Finally, which is maybe more on the commercial side, try to see how you can develop flexible and agile pricing models, on more as you go type pricing, depending on, it's that aspect of things as well. It has to be attractive. So those 3-4 areas is a few examples of what you can do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Nadeem, what do you recommend that we do now?
Yeah, to add on to what Al said, like I think the idea of modern payments, in some way it will impact every facet of your organization, whether it's sales, finance, marketing, HR, because payments, paying vendors, analyzing your payment history and payment inflow, outflow, how sales conducts business and how they collect cash. It's going to impact every facet. And so the one area that I would highly recommend as a starting point is kind of understanding what processes need to get digitized, right? And I think the onus of that is not just on the customer, but we, as us as IT vendors need to be able to provide that type of insight into organizations to help them understand that. And so I think that's that onus is on both us and the customer to ensure that they're digitizing their processes and to be able to take advantage of this notion. And then I think we talked a lot about, some of the things that I believe, digitizing of processes, consolidation of systems. You cannot have legacy systems that are not kind of talking to each other in some way and having siloed systems and data and that's going to negatively impact the process that you're trying to implement. And then I would say the last thing is start thinking about employee skilling, right? And advancing kind of skill sets in the cloud and kind of thinking about that because, we're seeing a huge issue on shortage of skilling in the market, and that's something every organization is probably thinking of. And so I think we all have a part to play in thinking about how we are going to empower our employees to be more strategic advisors and take advantage of this amazing era that we're in, right? So I think those are some three kind of things that I would think about that organizations can start thinking about today to get ready.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to turn it around a little bit. We've been talking, very much from the business perspective, but I think over the course of this pandemic, as end users, we've all become digital experience experts. And as end users, our expectations are high. And with high expectation comes very low tolerance for a terrible customer experience. And so I'm curious, as you think about, the customer experience, what role will customers or end users play in helping to drive this transformation? Maybe we could start with you, Nadeem, please.
Sure. Look, the end user, that's where the buck stops, right? If the end user is not trained, if the end user doesn't feel empowered, if the end user is not getting the insights they need, if the end user is not seeing the advantages of moving to the modern payment, well, then this whole initiative is a vain, right? Because what we're trying to do is empower empower the user to feel like things are happening more efficiently. And realize the impacts of modernization. So we, as I think this is where we as IT vendors, and I put some of the onus back on us, is to ensure that we're not only selling the software, but we're helping train our end users and help them to understand the the realization and the benefits of modernization. So I mean, to me, the buck stops there. Like, I mean, if they're not happy, then and with the experiences that we're providing or that they're getting from the modernization efforts, then that's probably gonna put a damper on the initiatives that the organizations have been trying to put forward, right? That makes sense.
That's great. Thank you. And Ulf, what are your views on the customer and the customer experience in helping to drive modern payments?
I'm nodding here. I think we have a responsibility as a vendor providing a solution to not only help to implement, but to share our best practice and from other areas in the world. We mentioned earlier also the being involved in similar international initiatives, share experience, and try to sometimes even enforce that you start with a digital workshop, or you start working together where the vendor can help from an IT perspective organize this, structure this, make sure of the relevant stakeholders are involved, and even maybe customers of customers are involved. And I think this whole the key to success is this whole ecosystem. To collaborate together in a payments ecosystem is key to success. And I see that from other global initiatives, and it takes time, and sometimes it's difficult to break through, but I think we all have to be a little bit stubborn there to at the end of the day, it will help solve some of these issues, and we will learn as long as we move forward. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for your participation here today. It's been an exciting, scary, informative conversation. I think we have a fantastic opportunity ahead of us with modern payments, and I think the pace of innovation has been really unexpected over the last year, and it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity ahead of us. Thank you for sharing your views on modern payments. I think that we've all learned today that modern payments can deliver substantial value for companies and end users, but companies of all sizes, and that there's opportunity for the first steps to be taken right now. So thank you for participating today, and it's been a very fun and informative discussion.
Thank you, Tracey, for the opportunity. Looking forward to seeing modern payments roll out across the world. It'll be amazing.
Me too.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to be doing this on site next time as well. So there you go. Thank you very much. Thanks, Nadeem. Thanks, Tracey.
Thank you. And now it's time for our closing remarks. This has been an incredible week. Thank you to our speakers, our sponsors, and to you, our audience. Thank you all. I am grateful to have been able to share this week with you. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Eileen Mercier, the chair of the Payments Canada Board of Directors. This is Eileen's last year as board chair, and I would like to thank her for her significant contribution to Payments Canada and to payments overall. Eileen, thank you, and over to you.